So this is what we spoke about yesterday, and now we're getting to the hold players accountable, which is a tool that I feel is not used enough, but it's the most effective tool to get what you want your players to do. So, two main issues we need to use holding players accountable. First one is laziness. We are lazy. We spoke about it yesterday. And effort. How would you describe effort? What is your definition of effort? Okay, I like to define it as whenever you do something that is not your immediate choice. So if I now just want to sit down and do this, this is what I want to do. This is what I feel like doing. Automatically, if no one would tell me and I need to do nothing else, this is what I will do. If I do something different that I do not want to do, this is effort. And of course, as far as it gets from sitting down here with my cell phone, the effort is bigger. But it's doing something that is not your instinctive or immediate choice. Okay? What you would want to do if you could do whatever you want in the world. Okay? So laziness is a very stubborn thing with players, and also selfishness. And everyone wants to take care of himself. So these are the two things that will force us to hold the players accountable. Okay? And it will force them to put in the effort and not being selfish. Now, it's an extremely strong focusing tool. Yes?
Could you talk a bit about how?
Of course, the next slide. The next slide is how. So, it's a very, very strong focusing tool. Because if the players, if he knows that I'm going to hold him accountable for not turning the ball, then it's on his mind all the time. This is what's on his mind. He does not want to be the reason that the team loses the game. And it's also a great feedbacking tool because, especially for negative feedback, because if he doesn't do that, then immediately he understands that he did not do well. So how do we do that? It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So if a player doesn't keep a habit in focus, if it's an offensive habit, for example, force long closeouts or dribble with a purpose, his team will lose the ball. So turnover, you saw that yesterday a few times. When they did not tag up, they lost the ball. Go out, get out. You lose your possession. This is a very strong one, and you saw it yesterday. Team loses all its points. So, like yesterday, let's say I want us to drive and kick. So I say, hey, if you will miss from inside the 3, you lose all your points. You saw what happened. It was on their mind. It's an immediate feedback. So they were looking to pass the ball. So team loses all its points is a very strong way to hold your players accountable if they don't do something offensively. Okay? Defensive habits, you just play defense again. So if you did not turn the ball, then you will play defense again. If you did not box out, you will play defense again. You won't get to play offense if you are not doing what you need to do defensively. So essentially, it's pretty easy. But you can only do it on a very few things because otherwise it is useless. Like, hey, you turn the ball over, you lose the ball because you dribble without a purpose. Hey, you didn't pass to a teammate. Hey, I don't know what. You didn't screen well. So it loses its effectiveness. Okay, now the players, they are confused. They don't know what. So you can only do it on a very few habits. Like in the drill we did 3 against 2 plus 1. If you do not box out or if you do not tag. That's it. Now the second thing is it must be clear if you did it or not. So there is a big difference between press the ball and turn the ball. So pressing the ball is open to interpretation. Did I press the ball or not? You think I didn't, I think I did. Because I was here and I did that, so I pressed the ball. No. So the definitions must be very clear. If your player is facing the rim, you did not turn the ball. There is no argument here. Okay? And if you did not create contact with your player when boxing out, it's not open for discussion. You did not do that. So you can only hold them accountable for very clear and distinct things that are happening. If it's not clear, if it's not distinct, then it's very bad because now they don't understand what you want from them. But coach, I pressed him. Well, what do you want from me? And now he's being frustrated and he's starting to make all these kind of faces and you don't get what you want. So very few and keep it very clear and everyone must know if he did that or he didn't. Okay, so if you miss from inside the two, we can't argue. You missed, it was inside the 2-point line. That's it, you turn the ball over or you lose all your points. Now, Jeremiah asked a very good question. What about adding or subtracting points? I find those to be very weak enforcers. Why? Because if we can get away with something, okay, we will keep doing that. So, okay, we lost a point. But we can still play, we can still win the game, we can see, it's not catastrophe. So players will just, you will see, it's not a very strong enforcers. Sometimes it can help a little bit, especially on the positive side. So we had a rule once, if you pass the ball, like we called it one and done. So one dribble and kick it out, one and done, +1. If it was none and done, so you get it and immediately pass with no dribbles, and we scored from that, +2. It was pretty effective. They like that, okay? But it wasn't something that really, it helped us directing their attention, but it wasn't a very strong enforcer. So adding or taking out points, not very strong, okay? Now, why is that hard? I don't know if you noticed yesterday, but I called on one of the players, I won't tell his name, and immediately coach again is, and no one wants to get into confrontation. No one wants. And they're starting like this, and now, you saw what coach is killing me, come on. So they will look to win this battle against us. So we will leave them alone. They want us to leave them alone. Let me do what I want to do. And they will send signals to us, hey, I'm ready for confrontation. Yes? But they are not. They don't want to confront. And you know what? They even look, sometimes they even want you to put them in place. To draw the line. Hey, come on. I will not tolerate this body language. And I had this year with one of the players, and I told Eric, I think, hey, I don't think he's coming back because he had a terrible body language, like he was like this, and as if I need to say thank you for him giving me a hand, and I really put him on the spot immediately. Like I couldn't see that this body language is killing us. If you're not feeling well, you can go. And I thought he won't come, but he will leave the team. And guess what? Since he's the most nicest, best body language in the team. He was waiting for me to do that. Of course, you need to be smart. You need to do it in a way that is appropriate for each player. Some players, especially young players, if you would do that and you will confront them, it can be disastrous. So of course, for young players, you should be very delicate, but don't give up, okay? Of course, it demands effort and consistency. And also there is what we call status bias, which it's harder to hold players accountable, especially when they are very good offensive players. Okay, so he's not playing so hard defensively, but he can score. So will I hold him accountable? But more on that when we talk about how we run games, okay? But for practice, holding players accountable is not very hard. You just, hey, they need to know if they won't do that, they won't get the ball. So pretty straightforward. Okay, so to summarize what we spoke about, and then we'll go to defensive habits. So we want as many representative repetitions as possible, the most important thing. And if you have a lot of representative repetitions, you are helping your players, okay? We need to direct their attention, focus. We need to give constant, clear, and relevant feedback, and at times be unexpected. And we need to hold them accountable on the habits.